And this is when those two cars in the front are getting out there, and the guys have a chance to gain some momentum on them as this pack catches them.
They can't do this for 10 laps.
Eric Jones around. Back across the field. The big one, part 2 at Daytona.
Yeah, they can't do this.
Stay high. Nice straight. Did anybody hit you there, Kel?
A horrific crash for Kyle Busch, who slid through the infield grass and went head on into the inside wall. And he is climbing from that car, and that is an unbelievable sight. Wow. And they've stabilized, or tried to, that right leg. And we'll continue to follow the story with Kyle Busch, injured in a crash here at Daytona.
And while we were just coming back, there was an incident on pit lane. We'll update you as soon as we get more information. It involved the 77 of Ron Hornaday. Let's go back and take a look. The 25 of Richard Johns was coming in. Here is the 77, and here's 25, and watch what happens. Oh, the tire carrier on the right front.
You know what, that pit road is dangerous. These guys have to be very, very careful. Hopefully you didn't break a leg or something.
Well, thank goodness they make them wear the helmets, and you can see.
And these guys are athletes.
Absolutely. It looks like he's up and he's walking. We'll get an update from pit lane as soon as we can.
And now the latest on injured Cup driver Jerry Nadeau, the 32-year-old who had to be cut out of his MBV Motorsports Pontiac Friday at Richmond after a hard practice wreck in the first and second corners. Nadeau remains tonight in critical but stable condition in the intensive care unit at Virginia Commonwealth Medical Center in Richmond. He has head, lung, and rib injuries. Now, the Hartford Courant is reporting tonight that a source close to Nadeau says the Connecticut native suffered a skull fracture in the wreck and is in a medically induced coma to facilitate treatment. Team General Manager Jay Fry told us yesterday that Nadeau was responding to visitors, although he is not speaking. The wreck, as we say, happened during Cup practice Friday afternoon at Richmond. Nadeau apparently went into turn 1 a little too high, maybe trying to find a different line. No rubber down there. The rear end of the car slipped up. He went around and side-slapped the concrete, driver's side 2. A team member telling Speed News Nadeau spoke briefly to his crew on the radio after impact before falling unconscious.
The 38 car, Elliott Sadler, right side tire changes are going on the jack, and he's down the lane. Oh, he hits the 43. Our crewman's down. Michael Waltrip is on pit road. It's a 4-tire change. He said he had no idea what happened out there. They took 4 because they're 4 laps short. He's going to have to come back and top off. Back to you, Matt.
Watch the 43 cars trying to come into his pit, and Elliott's trying to leave. He just hooks the left rear. And those poor guys they got nowhere to go.
Man, a jack man gets knocked about 10 feet down the racetrack. Man.
Fortunately, he didn't get run over by the 38 car once he got thrown down the racetrack. Watch here. He took a hit.
Well, he's getting a nice push from him.
Oh, trouble. Harvick's around.
Oh, got spun on the backside by the 43.
How many is it going to collect?
Hold the brake.
Oh, what a vicious crash. Eric McClure.
McClure is going to be transported to the University of Alabama Birmingham Medical Center for further treatment. And again, any update that we have, we will pass along as soon as possible.
Colin Pawsey right here.
Yeah, he's just
Front carrier.
cleaning the grill, but boy, to a driver, and he gets his foot caught underneath that splitter.
Yeah.
And, you know, for a driver, normally when the jack is dropped, that's his signal to go. So, you know, Carl Edwards did what he's supposed to do, but he just didn't quite get out of the way quick enough.
The car is too free at the beginning of a run to hustle, but then it comes in nicely.
And we have a huge fire on the pit lane. It looks like it's right down around the Eric McClure
We got a guy
area.
on fire, too, behind the wall.
Oh, my goodness. A scary situation on pit road here at Richmond.
Safety workers were quickly there to extinguish the fire.
Anthony O'Brien, the rear tire changer, doing his job, and watch what happens. And we saw O'Brien while we were away in commercial being transported, and there were crew members all around that fire.
We also saw O'Brien giving everyone the thumbs up.
Yeah, awake and alert. And we certainly don't know the extent of his injuries. And this could very well be the fuel man who also was in the middle of the fire. And I believe, Brad, it was O'Brien seen here that was on the other side of the pit wall that you referred to that was running away on fire.
Neck and neck. Guys,
side by side.
Kyle Busch closing in.
Watch out for the third place car, Kyle Busch. He's looking.
Hamlin edges ahead. They touch! They touch, and here comes Kyle! Hamlin, Logano on the wall. Hamlin spins down the racetrack, and Kyle Busch wins in California.
I thought they'd be nice to each other. They weren't. Watch his car. Watch the back of the car. Ooh, I mean, the whole car just came up off the ground.
And I don't see any safer barrier in that area right there.
I don't either, Larry. I am a little concerned for Denny because that was an incredibly hard hit.
So that's Denny Hamlin being attended to at the scene.
Well, in that 6 of Ricky Stenhouse, remember they talked about the fact that the car's been on the splitter. It's a 4-tire change, also making a chassis adjustment to help him with the splitter. He says he can't attack the corner the way he wants because the way the car's banging on that splitter. Having a little trouble there on the left side, guys.
Well, what happened is Ricky drove around the car that was behind the box behind him. He got on the brakes a little bit too hard. It looks like he slid a little closer to that wall than he wanted to. Jackman had trouble.
Back him up, back him up.
Yeah, they got big problems. The bad pit stop. Now they have to vacuum.
Guys, keep an eye on the Jackman. That's Jeremy Neely. There he is on the left rear tire. Now he's grabbing the jack. Now, when he runs around the front, watch him hop right here. When he came down, you can't see it there, but he fell and suffered a knee injury. You'll better look at it right here.
Oh. Yeah, there's where the problem was.
So that's what caused them such a delay to begin with. You mentioned, Carl, him having to come around the 40, and then when Jeremy Neely suffered that knee injury, that delayed them even further. They have taken him to the medical center for evaluation.
Going to crash on the home stretch, a car upside down.
And that's
a
Richard
blue
Petty.
car, it is Richard Petty.
I jumped off the score stand and started running as fast as I could.
I was working in the booth with Jim McKay for ABC. The position that he was in, it looked like blood coming out. It was a scary scene.
At that time, I used to run with a rag in my mouth. Well, them rags got to coming out the windows and stuff and looked terrible. I think the TV camera said, get away from that. He's coming apart inside that car.
And he certainly appears to be unconscious. The pit crew running out. This could be a very bad accident to one of the best-known race drivers in the world.
Welcome back to Pocono. Under caution for the second time. I'm Ray Dunlap along with Phil Parsons. Jim Trado and Heather DeBow are covering our pits today. And we had a brake failure of some sorts for Gus Dean. Here is car number 98 coming into the pits, Phil.
Yeah, he looks like he's able to slow a little bit, but man, oh man, wasn't quite able to get it stopped. And look at the contact he made with our Jackman and front tire changer.
We have an onboard from Gree Cooling Products, and we see that Pedro Martinez, who is the tire changer, got up immediately. Now, from onboard, look at this. John had the jack in his hand, and they tried to make evasive action of some kind, but Gus wasn't able to stop at all, and you saw that car completely spin around.
Thanks, Harry. Did you hear him, Marty? He was saving it. He had something left.
Oh, I'll tell you, this is so much fun. Bad news for Dave Marcus fans. Oh, no, and Larry Pearson's going to slam the wall as he turns it around. Oh! And Charlie Glotzbach T-bones him. Red flag is immediately displayed at start-finish. And there is Charlie Glotzbach as he has climbed out of his car. And Charlie, at the age of 71, from Edwardsville, Indiana, being assisted over to the medical care unit. And it's good to see that he is walking with some assistance, but getting some oxygen there. And there you see in the distance the crews working on the 21 of Larry Pearson. We still do not have any word from medical officials, so unfortunately there's nothing we can tell you right now.
And the right side of Kyle Busch's car was in his way.
Getting crowded up there in the front right now with the 42. Oh,
whoa,
trouble. Big
crash. Danica Patrick and Joey Logano.
Oh, man.
And Eric Almirola.
Holy smoly. Oh, heavy damage there on Danica.
Those cars are killed. Safety workers assisting Eric Almirola, who we could see was conscious and talking to the workers inside the race car. The AMR medical crew, new this year to NASCAR, along with the Speedway rescue crew. Looks like they're going to do some surgery on the roof of that car.